Hello, welcome to Finance Sister. This is my YouTube channel where we talk about everything related to money and how to use your money in order to achieve your financial goals and still have a balanced lifestyle. Okay, in this video, we're going to go line by line on how to budget a $60,000 annual income living in a higher cost of living area. Since most videos that you'll see or financial gurus will show you that you need to spend about 25% of your take-home pay on your housing expense, which is really hard to do in these higher cost of living areas. So you have to kind of prioritize your money in different line items to make up for that extra 10 to 15% that you're spending on housing alone. Okay, so this is budgeting a $60,000 annual income with debt. We're going to do another spreadsheet that's actually assuming that you don't have any consumer debt. So if that's more applicable to you, then it's going to be about halfway through this video. So really quick over here, we can see that $60,000 may be what you actually make, but we all know we have taxes. So this is basically just an estimate, assuming that you are married. If you're single, then your taxes are going to be a little bit higher. If you make more than $40,000 a year, your federal tax percentage goes up to 22% instead of 12%. And since Oregon has a state income tax of 9%, that's what I did with this. So I just put in, I'm assuming that you're married, so the cutoff for that is actually 78,000. So 21% total of taxes is taken out. So this is what you actually are left with for the year. And if you get paid twice per month, like on the 1st or the 15th, then your paycheck would equal $3,950 for the month. But if you get paid bi-weekly, every other week, then that means you get 26 paychecks in a year. And so you would end up getting a bonus paycheck 3 times a year, but your actual take home per month is going to be $3,646. Again, these are just estimates, not factoring in your personal deductions for taxes or anything like that. So let's get started over here. Household income. So this is combined, $3,950. This number right here needs to match your total outgo of expenses. That's what we call a zero-based budget, and that just means that you're allocating every dollar that you earn to a category. You're telling it, okay, I'm going to spend this amount of money in this category, and then I'm also going to save this amount of money towards savings. So basically every dollar is accounted for, which you can see right here. That total number should match your total income. Okay, so first up is charitable giving. If this doesn't apply to you, totally fine, just skip past it. But 10% is what most evangelical Christians would choose to tithe towards their local church. So moving down to the housing, so since I mentioned before, Portland, Oregon is a fairly higher cost of living area, and most people will recommend that you spend less than 25% of your take-home pay on your rent or your mortgage. And that's that's really, really, really hard to find, especially if you're a couple or a small family. You're not going to be able to rent a room somewhere and try to keep your rent under that 25%. So I'm just trying to make this as realistic as possible for people who do live in a higher cost of living area. So I'm saying that the average rent of the Portland and suburb area is $1,350. You can get a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment for that amount. Actually less, but I'm trying to make it a little bit more realistic if you live closer into downtown. So, but that's 34% of your income. So the rest of this budget, we're going to try to be as realistic as possible, but also make sure that you have margin in your life to be able to pay off the debt that you do have, or save and invest if that's where you're at. $65 would be an average price for Wi-Fi and internet, water, electric, garbage, renter's insurance. This is just an estimate since I'm actually a licensed insurance producer, and $15 to $25 was very common for renter's insurance. So that's just an average that I took. So transportation, this is assuming that you have 2 vehicles and that you don't have a extremely far commute. So I just allocated $250. Car insurance, again, assuming that you don't have extremely nice cars and you have fair coverage. Groceries, this is the category where most people, especially when there's lots of good places to go out and eat, tend to overspend. So $350 for groceries, I understand might sound like not very much, but that just means that you need to be more intentional about shopping at places like Winco, Grocery Outlet, and staying away from places like New Seasons or high-end markets that may be convenient, but they are considerably more expensive. So eating out, $60. Again, this, I understand this will go pretty quick, but this is a budget for if you have debt and you're trying to aggressively pay it off, which is the priority. And so that just means that you have to sacrifice a little bit in certain areas, and eating out is definitely a number one for most people. Personal fund, $60 for assuming there's 2 adults in the household. This could be less, could be more, but for at least me and my husband, we include our, like if we go out by ourselves for coffee, if I want to get a haircut, if I want to buy a t-shirt, whatever it may be, that all comes out of that personal fund. Cell phone bill, $100. Hulu, Netflix, since that's pretty much a given that you're going to have one of those, $15 a month. Entertainment, I'm putting $30 a month, since I think that a budget should be realistic. If you want to be extremely aggressive with paying off debt and put every dollar towards that, that's amazing, and we've been there, but I also understand that people want to be able to stick to their budget, and sometimes it can't be extremely limiting. Yeah, I'm going to use that word. Okay, so gifts, budget $40 for birthdays, bridal showers, weddings, bachelor parties, whatever it is, that would be that giving fund. And I actually do a separate fund, which you'll see down here, for Christmas gifts. So this is not including budgeting for Christmas. Miscellaneous, $50. That would include like household items, maybe cleaning products, random things that either you forget about, or you can even create a separate line item for those household items or other things. But the miscellaneous category seems to just be able to, it's a catch-all for little expenses that you don't think about. Okay, so we're at 78% of your take-home income is spent on living expenses. So that means that we have 22% of your income to put towards debt, which is great. Obviously, the less you can live on, the better. That just means that you're going to pay off debt a lot quicker. So here I have, assuming that you have a car payment, which the average American does have, and it's closer to $450 to $500. But if you have a $60,000 take-home income or annual salary, then I'm assuming that it's a little bit lower than the national average. Student loans, $80. Credit card, again, most Americans have a credit card and do have debt. So you want to try to, and usually credit cards are the lower balance out of the loans that you have. But that's up to you to decide if you want to tackle high interest rates first, or if you want to do the debt snowball method that Dave Ramsey teaches of paying off your lowest loan amount regardless of interest. But that's why I'm just allocating more money towards the credit card than anything else. Okay, so there we have it. So that's it balances out. 3,950 is budgeted and accounted for an income of 3,950 per month. Okay, and I'm gonna lose my face here for a second. All right, so now this is for if you don't have any debt. So this is a budget that is lightened up a little bit, but still accounts for you being able to put about 20% of your income towards saving, investing, doing a down payment on a house, vacation, whatever that is. So as you can see, 3,950 as your take home. Tithe, all of this is the same as the other spreadsheet, except for when we start getting to the food part. Okay, so groceries, $350 for groceries. It's a little bit more than the other, but the eating out is what we bumped up a little bit just to have a little bit more freedom. And honestly, if you do happy hours or go to cool little like food trucks, whatever it may be, you can actually make $100 last quite a ways, just depending on where you choose to eat. Personal funds, we bumped that up to $100 instead of $60 to give you a little bit more wiggle room. And so here we have 81% of your total income is being spent on lifestyle expenses alone. So that means now that there's no debt here, awesome, so exciting, that we can put, so here we can see you're putting 19% of your income towards saving or investing, and that total number of money that's going towards daily living expenses and savings equals the total amount of income that you have. So that's the goal with a zero-based budget. And as you can see, just being able to live on about 80% of your income does give you a certain amount of margin to be able to do other things instead of just living paycheck to paycheck. If you find this information helpful, I would love it if you would subscribe, click the red button below, and hit the bell to get notifications on all future videos that I post.